Hi, this is Rebecca,
And this is Brandon.
and we are a couple of theater nerds who love movies and love talking about
So
movies.
join us for our drive home as we review the movies we have just watched.
And we will inevitably disagree on.
This is the Drive Home Review Podcast.
And this week, we are going to start our episode 2 by trying to actually get them up in the right
In the
order.
right order, yeah. I'm still learning the editing.
That's okay.
This is why in the the original iteration, I tried to keep as little editing as possible so I would avoid mistakes just like that.
That's all right. It's a learning curve, and something that sounds right when you are editing it might get backwards when you are listening to it, and that's completely okay. So this is episode 2. We're recording this about 2/3 of the way through February. And something that we've noticed this month is that we've lost some pretty big celebrities
Yeah,
this month.
a lot of big names have passed. Richard Belzer, of course.
Yes, I'm a huge Law and Order nerd, and so that was kind of a surprise. I know he'd left the Law and Order universe a few years ago and kind of dropped off the radar, but yeah, you just expect them to always be around.
Well, what I remember about Richard Belzer is that he's like the Agent Coulson or the Jay and Silent Bob of like 90s and early 2000s cop shows. Like
Oh,
he
right, yeah.
links together a ton of different cop shows into the same universe: Homicide, Life on the Streets, the Law and Order universe, the X Files. He played Munch on so many different shows. And for those of you who follow the I forget what it's called now. The I'm gonna mess it up, so I'm not gonna get into it. But follow this idea that every TV show is somehow linked and all exist in the same universe.
Oh, right, yeah.
He is the guy, one of those linchpins that makes that happen. So yeah,
Yes, and then in the television world, and then in the film world, Raquel Welch died this month as well.
yeah.
So, how old was Raquel?
I do not know off the top of my head.
She had been in everything. She'd been around forever.
And yeah, I remember my friends and I watching 1 Million BC when we were in high school, and not quite knowing what to make of it. We didn't realize at the time, this is how kind of clueless we were and are, that it was basically the Baywatch of its time, and you weren't really supposed to be paying much attention to the quote unquote story, especially since there's no like actual English dialogue. It's all grunts. But you're just supposed to be looking at the pretty lady in the fur bikini. So that was all you're
Right.
supposed to be doing.
And that was a movie, right? Not a
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So strange that you ended up with someone with such a penchant for leopard and animal prints then.
yeah. I know, right?
Let's see. Raquel Welch was 82 at the time of her
Wow.
death. So yeah, she'd been around for quite some time. I think we can all agree one of the epitome one like a real pardon my stammering here, just one of the models of beauty in Hollywood in the 60s and 70s for sure.
Some of you younger film fans may just know her as the poster on the wall in the Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, that's funny because I don't think a lot of the younger fans would even know it's Shawshank Redemption.
You bloody kids with your hula hoops and your Pokemon cards and your communist agendas and your Dan Fogelberg albums.
Now explain that quote.
I will not. I will not. It's just something I say a lot.
But yes, she's had songs written about her. She's been, yeah, 1994 was when Shawshank Redemption came out, honey. So that was
You know what?
nearly 30 years
You know
ago.
what? If
Nearly.
you're a film fan, you should know Shawshank Redemption. And I do not
Uh,
apologize for that.
so maybe not. She's been on CSI Miami, and she's done bit parts on movie or on television shows, and then um She was in movies for a long time, up until her 60s, and then she kinda, dropped out and took it a little easier, but yeah, Raquel Welch, a big, big, big
Yeah.
name. And even some of the smaller names, Charles Kimbrough passed away this
Yeah.
month.
Now that this is a really obscure one, especially for the younger kids, but best known as Jim on Murphy Brown,
Right.
and I he was always my favorite character on Murphy Brown. I remember watching the show. And I didn't get it, obviously, because I was a kid and they were talking about politics and all of this kind of stuff. But I just knew he was very funny. I loved his very that deep voice and the deadpan delivery. Um, and I rewatched the show a few years ago, and just what a what a charming character and what an amazing performance he gave. And
He was always very affable and sweet, and maybe didn't know exactly what was going on, but that was okay. Um,
For our Disney fans, you will know him as the voice of Victor the Gargoyle in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
right, and gargoyles, that's a big show for you.
Oh, yes, but they're not the same thing.
Oh, I was thinking, oh, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Sorry, I
Yes.
just heard gargoyle and that was it.
She
Thought
only
you
hears
meant
every third word I
I
say.
do, I do. That's how our relationship survives.
If
Um,
you had to, as any past viewers of Drive Home Reviews will tell you, if you had to listen to every word I say, you'd go mad. You know,
oh no, I thought you said gargle. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, yes, yes, he was on the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
And lastly, earlier this month, Linda Dillon, best known as Mother Parker in A Christmas Story, passed away.
Yes. Yes.
What a legacy! And I know she was more of a character actor,
Right.
so I don't think there's a lot of other things that people recognize her from immediately. But to have that one movie that
That
is
people dress up as you as.
yes,
Like
that is
that's kind of such a marker for your fame as,
yeah,
that people cosplay as you.
and it's such a part of so many people's holiday
It
traditions,
is. It is.
and to think that you created that is a hell of a legacy. And
Right.
if we should all be so lucky to have to leave behind that one thing that just means so much to so many people. And
Does TBS still do the thing where
the,
they play the Christmas
yeah,
story for
yeah,
24
yeah,
hours? So
we watch it, my family watches it, like
mhm.
my parents and I, we would watch it at least once during that
Right.
run. My dad would usually put it on while we were unwrapping presents.
Oh gosh, I love the scene where they end up in the Chinese restaurant for
That is
dinner.
a fantastic
Well,
scene.
and the thing is like that the movie seems like such a gruff family, and like you're expecting one thing out of the characters, but they're kind of not what you really expect.
Yeah.
And the relationship between the mother and father, you could tell that they really were affectionate of each other.
But what's wonderful about that movie is because it is all told from the point of view of a small boy, you don't necessarily see that affection from as a
Right.
child, especially back then.
Mhm.
So, and it was such a great performance by them that you saw that affection in the little bits that he would probably be privy to, the simple touch on the back,
Right.
the little shared jokes and whispers.
Or even just like sitting on the couch together watching them open up their presents
Yeah,
and
and
yeah.
like wow, what a we always talk about in culture, TV moms and
Mhm.
TV dads, and who would be your ideal TV dad and mom and all this. But I think she's probably one of the great movie moms.
True. I would
You know,
agree with you. I wouldn't necessarily follow her discipline
well,
tactics. Washing somebody's mouth out with soap, none of
well,
that.
I mean, for the
But
time, we gotta always remember that.
I mean, I remember the scene where she's getting Randy to eat by playing with
Yeah,
his food, and
yeah.
like that was, I mean, that's such a sweet moment
Yeah, and
to.
like so this is something we won't do every episode, but it is something that still means a lot to me and means a lot to us to acknowledge the contributions of the people who have passed, and especially the folks who might not get all of the attention.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
a lot of these folks when they pass, the big names get remembered, but we tend to forget the character actors, the directors, who might not have been as famous but contributed just as much. So we'll do a drive home review remembers every so often to.
And, I was like, we are theater people, and, when you think about your fantasy career, everyone assumes you'd wanna be a big movie star or something like that, but, man, these character actors and actresses, they really have the right idea, you know?
Mhm.
Steady work,
Yeah.
if you can get it, fun, like, the side characters are always way more fun than the main characters, and you still can go grocery shopping in peace without having the paparazzi
Yeah.
follow you. So,
And
yeah.
you get to play that fun game that we play every other day watching TV. Who's that actor?
Right, which is especially fun when we're doing it watching Star Trek, and half of
Yeah.
them are in prosthetics and
Yes.
and makeup. What was it? We were watching Star Trek last night, and, who's Worf's girlfriend?
Kalar.
Kaylar.
From the Next Generation, not Deep Space Nine nerds. Don't jump down our throat.
Watching, Kaylar, and going, "Oh, who is that?" And then realizing that it's the same actress that played Marshall's mom in How I Met Your Mother.
Which I did not realize
And
until you said it. So,
that's always fun. Anyways, so what are we gonna be reviewing
so
today?
we are going to be taking a look at a film called Maybe I
All
Do.
right, so we're gonna start heading into that.
I mean,
So maybe I do. Now, last week we reviewed The Knock at the Cabin, which we kind of had mixed feelings about. Do you feel like we're gonna go into that this week?
I don't think so. Just judging from the way we came out of the theater, I have a feeling we're going to line up pretty well on this one. So, folks, I mentioned in the backwards introduction, sorry for that again, that one of the things I love about doing drive home reviews and one of the kind of mission statements for the show was always to not just review the big films that everybody has their opinion on, but to check out the small ones, the little ones that slip past, don't get a lot of press, if any press at all. Jump on a rocket sled onto streaming or the 99-cent bin, and and sometimes real gems get lost in there. And these are films that deserve to be found and watched and discussed. Um, but the flip side to that is sometimes
They should stay in the 99-cent bin.
yeah, or sometimes 99 cents is overpriced. And at the risk of spoiler alerting, I feel like that is kind of what,
Where we're at.
yeah.
All right, give us a summary, honey.
Okay, so I'm going to do my best on this. So in this film, we have three couples, two sets of parents, and each of their kids. The kids are dating and are in a long-term relationship. The young lady wants to get married. The young man is firmly against it. It should be noted, none of these parents have ever met one another. They don't know what each other looks like. I don't think they've ever. They have met the kids, but they have not met one another. Unbeknownst to the children, um, their the son's father and the daughter's mother. No, it's the other way around. I'm sorry.
Son's mother, daughter.
Two of the
Okay.
parents are having an affair. I'm trying to. Okay, how about this? If you're still listening to that, who stars in this movie, my
Okay,
love? That'll make this easier.
so our cast is fairly studded. It's star-studded. Um, so as our main couple, we have Luke Bracey, who's, he's been in some stuff. This is his first real, like, out there role. As Alan, the young man who is the part of the couple, and Emma Roberts as Michelle. And that's our main couple. That's our young couple, in their 20s, I would
They're
say.
in their 20s or I don't know, going into their 30s. I think he might
Right.
be in his 30s. It's really hard to tell. He looks so much older than she
Which
does.
is it's interesting because in reality, they are about the same age. They're both early 30s.
Yeah.
Emma Roberts just still looks like she's 17. So,
Yeah.
Diane Keaton plays Michelle's mom, and her husband's Richard Gere. Sorry, their names are Grace and Howard, and that's Michelle's parents. And then Alan's parents are Sam and Monica. Sam is played by William H. Macy, and Monica is played by Susan Sarandon. So that's our cast, and that's pretty much the entirety of the people who are in the play.
Yeah. So now that we have that,
Right.
so Richard Gere and Susan Sarandon are having an affair, unbeknownst to them that they are the parents of these two young people who are having
Al
these relationship
right.
problems. Meanwhile, um, William H. Macy and Diane Keaton meet each other again, having no idea who each other is, and they have a connection. They don't have an actual affair. They plan to,
But
but
they
don't
end
actually
up
go through with it.
just eating fried chicken and
Yeah.
talking about their
So
feelings.
it's a lot of these, a lot of this kind of everybody's with the wrong person, and there's all these secret connections. And of course, to smooth over a fight that they have had, the young couple decide to have a big family dinner with all the parents where everybody meets each other. And supposedly, shenanigans ensue.
Right. Now, it should be noted that this originated as a play.
Yes.
Play written by, um, oh gosh, Michael Jacobs, early in his career. And Michael Jacobs went on to write a lot of kind of schmucky television like Girl Meets World
Ugh.
and and whatnot. But he started out as a playwright. And so you can definitely see a lot of aspects of theater in this.
Yeah.
You start off really with three separate vignettes and then they combine together.
Yeah. This is like you said, you can tell this was a play before. This is also directed by him, by the
Right.
playwright. Um, and you can tell because this just reeks of the type of play I remember reading back when I was a theater student in the 90s, the late 90s. One of these plays where the playwright clearly thought that he was saying something really deep and really profound about love and marriage and life. And in fact, all they are doing is talking in circles.
Right.
It's one of those things where you can tell the playwright is more in love with their own words than they are with any kind of cohesive narrative or understandable character development. This would be a play where if I was an actor or a director in it, I would hate to try to do character analysis because people say one thing and then they immediately say or do the opposite.
Right. Now, this was written early in his career, so there's not like it's really kind of hard to tell when it was written because it doesn't seem to have ever actually been produced anywhere, which should have stayed that way.
Yes.
But probably in the late 70s, early
Yeah,
80s,
it
because Cheaters was his first play that went really big, and that was in 1978. Now you can tell that this is a product of that time.
very much so.
Um, the character development for the women in this is just
Oh
trash.
my god.
Um, you have Diane Keaton as the angel of all wives. So she'd never consider having an affair. She's never seen pornography before. This is how people have sex now. She's making wholesome oatmeal for breakfast for them all while she watches a church um, program on
Oh.
television. And I mean, and you said something about Diane Keaton that really is very
I
true.
Diane Keaton may have been a great actor once,
Right.
but she has not changed her shtick since the first Wives Club.
Yeah.
It has been that same, oh, oh, And it has
Like,
been that bloody character in every movie since.
the
And here it is.
frumpiness, like, that they put on her, and you're supposed to, feel bad for her because she's so frumpy and of course her husband's gonna have no, like, I just, she's an intelligent woman, and that excuse me, sorry, bless me, um that uh the family has a little bit of money, so, like, what is she doing? At one point she picks up this thing that she's crocheting, like she's been working on it for years, and you can tell she has absolutely no idea what she's doing with this crochet hook. Like, I just, yes, and then you have Susan Sarandon,
Oh,
who is playing the adulteress.
clearly the the writer is working through some issue with this character because oh my god, she's terrible. She's just emasculating to her husband. She's
Yes,
just she delights in causing
chaos.
chaos and like she's a sociopath.
She's Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, she's Cruella Deville.
Yes, and it's just so ridiculous, like, and this visual representation too drives me insane. Like, the woman who likes makeup and perfume and likes to look nice is the one who's the adulteress, and the frumpy one is the one who's the sweet, innocent
Yeah,
Madonna, and then you have Emma Roberts, and the costumes that they put her in make her look like she is a 14-year-old girl, and she is talking about sex and marriage with this man who looks like he could be 20 years older than her. And yes, I know that in real life she is in her 30s. But at one point she's like wearing like socks and boots and a little plaid skirt, and she goes, "Come join me on my little girl bed." And it's so gross.
it is. Okay. So here's the real issue I have with this film. And this happens a lot, and especially with these films, again, where there's not a lot of publicity about them. All we knew about this was the trailer.
Right.
And let me tell you something, folks. The trailer lies. You know how House says everybody lies? Well, almost every trailer lies. This trailer had me believing that this was going to be a birdcage-esque farce.
Right.
With characters, having these secret relationships and trying to hide them and all of it coming out, and it's all crazy. And there's a scene in this at the very beginning, what starts this whole ball rolling, the inciting incident, if you will, is Emma Roberts and her boyfriend are at a wedding.
Uh-huh.
They are getting ready to throw the bouquet.
Mhm.
And this guy physically gets up on a table and jumps in front of the bouquet to keep her from catching it because he thinks, I don't know, that it's a legally binding contract.
Yeah.
That if she catches it, he has to get married. And this leads to the biggest problem I have with this. It's like, why do you want to marry this man so bad?
I know, like, she keeps saying, like, that she wants him and that she needs him, and that they're perfect together and he's exactly what she wants, but there's no indication. They don't show at all why she would want
Yeah,
him.
there is no reason at any time are you like, wow, this is a nice guy. This is a really sweet, caring, and devoted human being. No, he is a jackass from the word go. And you're just like, you
Which
can do better.
which is interesting because that's kind of the same thing with Richard Gere.
Yes.
There's never a redeeming, like, he treats all the women terribly.
Yes.
He treats his wife terribly, and then he even treats his mistress terribly and kind of makes it seem like it's
It's
she has seduced him and forced him to have this affair, and that she is the only person in the wrong in this
yeah,
situation.
he really like their first scene together, he's like, ugh, I'm so bored of you. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like I said, like this was all her idea.
Yeah,
And
it's
they make a point to say that they've been doing this for at least 4 months.
right.
So it's like you don't have the moral high ground here, but he does something like that with Emma Roberts too, who is like
Right.
he has some line, I can't remember what it is, where he's like, "Oh, I wish I had a son."
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
what the fuck?
there's no like I mean, really not redeeming qualities, and yet we're supposed to, and maybe this is a product of the 70s when you were just supposed to love men because men were men and penises, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, penises, I suppose, buy our merch. So, yeah.
um, the only character who has any kind of redeeming factor is William H. Macy's.
Yes, William H. Macy, I love William H.
He
Macy.
is he is a really good character actor, as we kind of already discussed, and you can tell that he is a stage actor
Oh, yeah.
because he seemed to be the only one of this group who seemed comfortable with the just kind of bonkers and very dated nature of this dialogue. He made it sound natural.
Right.
And that's something that only an actor who learned their craft on the stage at the time these kind of plays were very, very popular.
And he was so considerate of everybody
Yeah.
in a way that not even Diane Keaton was. Like, not even her character was considerate in this way. And we're supposed to believe that they're, on the same kind of level. But really, no, it was pretty much just William H. Macy.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of dialogue, the other issue that I had with this was like every line was like it was a Shakespearean monologue meant to just wow you with its brilliance.
Yeah.
I hate when they write like that.
This is a play that would have been heaven for theater students back, like, say, 97, 98 when I started, and you needed monologues for auditions or
Oh my
for
gosh.
acting class.
Everything was a monologue. It doesn't matter if it was a sentence long, everything was a monologue. One that sticks out to me is uh Emma Roberts is fighting with Luke Bracey, and she's like, "You're not allowed to touch me anymore." And then later he's like, "Well, I'm not allowed to touch you." And she's like, "You want to touch me?" And then she grabs his hands and puts them on her ass, and then puts them on her vagina, and then puts them on her breasts, and then puts them on her head and says, "Touch my brain, touch my heart, touch me everywhere." It's like, oh my god, it's just, oh, I
Oh,
can't. I can't. I'm embarrassed for you
yes.
because you really thought you were doing something
Now
there.
here's my question on that. What did you think of the performance of Emma Roberts?
I think that Emma Roberts acted her little heart out. I think that Emma Roberts was not directed well.
Yep.
I think Emma Roberts had a trash can fire of a script to work with, and that if she had actually had a good script and a good director, she could have done well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that because she's actually surprised me. She was in a romantic comedy I reviewed last year called About Fate, and I was kind
Mhm.
of taken aback by how natural and charming and just gracious she seemed on screen. She felt very comfortable.
Right.
Um,
But
kind of got the best of both worlds between her A-list aunt and her C and D list father.
I don't know. I
You
think
know,
he's farther up the list than that.
but so she kind of got the best of both worlds. She got his kind of natural delivery and approach, but her charisma and screen presence.
Right.
And it really did hurt me watching this to get, like you say, she had just all this garbage of a script and
I
director to
know.
work with, and the, she's working her ass off. She's trying. All the other actors who gave crap performances, yes, one, you can blame the directing and the script, but the other part is like, you're an old enough actor, you should be able to handle this.
Right.
Come on.
Susan Sarandon is just playing. I mean, does Susan Sarandon and Diane Keaton are just playing the same roles that they have for the last
Yeah,
15 years, you know, um,
and
which is unfortunate
yeah,
because I know they can do better.
and I'm sorry, I have never found Richard Gere engaging, not once.
I think that he has high points. I forced you to watch Officer and a Gentleman.
Yes.
So, I think that he has had high points. I don't think that he is a hugely talented actor.
No, like,
And I think in a situation like that, like this, with this film, where the character is completely charmless and unforgivable that there's just no like I can't see a reason why I would want Diane Keaton to stay with him and not go with William H. Macy.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
so yeah, like I say, they should have known better.
The thing is like there were things that if they would have leaned into specific parts, then something good could have come out of it. So at one point, Susan Sarandon implies that the reason she started having affairs was because she stopped getting affection from William H. Macy. You stopped kissing me goodnight. You started going to bed without me. Um, and they didn't explore that at all. Instead, they leaned harder into her being this shrew,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and like you said, with Emma Roberts and William H. Macy, like if you would have explored more about like why are they so determined to keep their sweetness and look out for their families when everybody is kind of trying to burn up everything around them, but they didn't explore that at all.
See, and I also think, like I said, and it goes back to that one scene I talked about. I go the other way and say if they had gone full out screwball farcical comedy,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the character types and archetypes that they established would have worked.
Right.
But when you're trying to have these people play it serious and straight, and like you said, every line is just dripping with importance.
Just the idea that it's this the characters are supposed to be like noises off, like Clue, like the show that goes wrong, like they're
The
supposed to be
birdcage.
they yes,
Yeah.
these farcical characters, and instead they're playing it like it is a heavy drama. Like that's so true.
Yeah.
It's like Sesame Street does Macbeth.
Which I would pay to see. I would pay to see Ernie as Macbeth.
Oh.
That would be great. Is this a dagger I see before me, Bert? I would pay to see that. Grover, Elmo, and Cookie Monster as the three
The
witches.
Three
Come
Witches.
on. Double, double toil and trouble, Cookie. Come on. I would pay to see that. Shut up and take my money. But you know what I started having when I was concerned about this movie?
About 15 minutes in.
Yes, but do you know why?
Um,
Actually, it's less than that. It's about 3 minutes in.
I don't know. Why?
The opening credits. Do you remember the opening credits?
No.
It was a black screen, and they played the song that was written for the film
Oh my
as the
gosh.
credits, as each person's name just came up. There's no visual, there's
Yes.
nothing there. It is such an anachronism.
Oh
That's
my
first of all, it's
gosh.
not how we do credits in this day and age. And
No.
secondly, even if it was for romantic comedies or whatever, you have some visual playing in the background. Like you pan over pictures of the parents getting married,
Right.
or the
I mean,
kids, the younger couple as kids. You'll give us kind of visual representation of what their lives have been like to bring us to the point we're at now. But no, it's just this black screen and each person's name coming up one at a time. I'm like, this doesn't bode well.
it's because the director slash writer was so convinced it was going to be such a huge twist that these couples were married to each other and that, you know, Susan Sarandon and Richard Gere were having an affair, but you knew this from the trailer.
Yeah,
Like, if you wanted it to be a twist, you don't include those things in the trailer, you know? So if it's not gonna be a twist, then yes, build some backstory so that we can bond with these people. Like, show them at one time being happy so that we're heartbroken that they might break up. I had no connection to the couples and could not have cared less if they stayed together.
not a one of them.
No.
Not a one of them.
No.
You
So
know, it was like it was like That's terrible to say. I was gonna say, if William H. Macy and Emma Roberts got married in the movie, you'd be like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah, no.
gross, but they're at least good characters or decent.
So,
But
yes, and
uh,
please, for the love of Pete, Diane Keaton, you are so much better than what they are giving you. Stop letting them treat you this way. Oh,
you've got to have
Lord.
some clout.
Got to.
Come on, I mean, yes, I know that Hollywood is not a nice town for women of a certain age, but you don't have to say yes to everything, or you could try to play a different character, maybe.
Yes.
Just a
There's
thought.
so many female screenwriters now who would love to write you a part. Maybe talk to one of them.
You know?
Go talk to Reese Witherspoon. She won't steer you wrong.
Yeah.
She's got a pretty good production company
Yeah,
now.
she does.
Yeah, she won't
Yeah,
steer you
yeah.
wrong.
So I mean,
Mhm.
yeah.
Anyways, anything that you appreciated out of this movie?
God no. Okay, that's incorrect. As mentioned, the performance of William H. Macy, I think,
Yes.
and he actually had a pretty interesting scene. It was one of the times I thought the movie was coming back and might actually, you know, uh, surprise me when he has the scene with his son and they're talking about love and he's giving the example. All right, you're my son and I love you,
Right.
but if we pass each other on the street, you're not my son, you don't know me. Would you love me?
Right.
And this whole kind of, yeah, well, why? Because you're my dad, but why? It's and this kind of whole thing is like, okay, that's an interesting kind of way to talk about it and look at it. It didn't follow through and it didn't work, but I appreciated that. And I do appreciate, again, I think Emma Roberts has found a nice niche for herself in these kind of middle of the road romantic comedy things. And I think she, like you said, she was desperately trying to make a statement here, and this was the wrong project for it.
Right. She wanted to show that she could be a serious actress. Up to this point, she's been screen queen, she's been romantic comedy, and I think she could be a serious actress. She's probably a better actress than her aunt is.
That's not hard.
But I like Julia Roberts. Anyways, but oh, also how weird that Richard Gere, one of his big first roles is the guy who picks up the sex worker
Holy shit.
who is Emma Roberts's aunt,
I didn't
Julia
even
Roberts,
think of that.
and then plays Emma Roberts's dad in
Oh
this
my
movie.
god. This If we think of this movie as the sequel to Pretty Woman, oh my god. And like he actually dumped Julia Roberts because I mean obviously, that
Yeah.
relationship was never going to work in real life.
Right.
And he married Diane Keaton and they raised his daughter as their holy shit, that makes the movie just so much more interesting. Wow. I wish I thought of that going in. Damn. What a
Anyways,
missed opportunity.
I did like how good Susan Sarandon looks.
Yeah, yeah.
Her costumes were great. They did light her really well. I loved William H. Macy. The house that they used for the parents' house was nice.
So the location scout did a good job.
Yeah, I feel like it's like when you go see your friend's play that's terrible, and you're like, boy, that backdrop was
uh
real good.
yep. I've been that person, and I've been the person that people have told that to a number of times. So yeah, I know that. Now here's the thing. I'll talk about that here in a second. Let's not.
What?
We'll get to it when we wrap up.
I don't really think I've got anything more to say except for can we please stop writing women as these terrible like character tropes? Like
Mm,
there is not good woman, bad woman. There are spectrums of women who make decisions on daily basis and maybe they're not always good and maybe they're not always bad, but you don't have to choose. Am I going to be the Diane Keaton or the Susan Sarandon in my life? No, like stop writing women into corners.
yeah,
Okay.
agreed. All right, so let's wrap it up. Final grade, baby.
Oh
What do you
gosh.
think?
No, this is an F.
Mm.
F plus, I say, because it's still not as bad as Queen Bee's.
That is your benchmark.
It is.
The-
And if I ever deemed to watch 80 for Brady, I'm sure it would be down there as
I'm pretty
well.
sure, but yeah.
But Queen Bees is, yes, my low mark for movies, and, this is slightly better than
You can
that.
find our review of that one on YouTube if you want to
Yes.
see her reaction to that one. I find that funny. Um, I'm going to be a little nicer, just a little, and say a D minus
Hmm.
for me, and that's strictly on the performance of William H Macy and Emma Roberts, both of whom I think did the best they could with the work they had, but it is not enough to ever make me recommend this film or ever make me want to watch it again. And what I worry about is the last time I badmouthed a play turned movie, the secret legions of fans rose up against me. So I hope that the Love and Tyranny people have not contacted all of the maybe babies, and they're gonna cancel
The
me.
maybe babies. Yeah, no, listen, Emma Roberts, William H. Macy, I understand that costs have gone up and inflation and all that, but you can say no to scripts.
Yeah.
You can. You can say no to scripts.
All
Oh,
right. So there we go. So thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. That's all the time we have for this episode, but we will be back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming along. Thank you, my love, for
thank
sitting through terrible movies with me.
thank you, my darling.
And so yeah, be listening for the next one. And as always, drive safe, and we'll see you at the movies.